In this video, you'll learn about integers and absolute value. An integer is whole numbers and their opposites. So whole numbers, remember, include 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And then opposites are numbers that are the same distance from 0. So if I want to know what the opposite of 3 is, its opposite is negative 3. The opposite of negative 10, the number the same distance from 0 as negative 10, is positive 10. So integers are all whole numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, and their opposites, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and so on that way. Remember, the opposite of 0 is 0. So if I want to find the opposite of 5, I think to myself, what number is the same distance from 0 on the number line? And the answer for that is negative 5. If I want to find the opposite of negative 10, what's the same distance from 0 on the number line? Positive 10. And the opposite of 0, what's the same distance from 0 on the number line? 0 is the number the same distance from 0. And then the next term to know is absolute value. Absolute value, the definition is the distance the number is from 0. So, in math, if we want to show absolute value, we put these two parallel lines around a number. And the way I would read this first problem is, what is the absolute value of x? How far is x from 0? Well, we would say it's x units away. So the absolute value of x is x. And then the second example, what is the absolute value of negative x? How far away is negative x from 0? It's x units away. So let's look at a couple other examples. I want to know what's the absolute value of 5. How far away is 5 from 0? The absolute value of 5 is 5. I want to know the absolute value of negative 4. How far is negative 4 from 0? It's 4 units away, so the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. If I want to know the absolute value of 0, how many units away from 0 is 0? It's 0 units away. We can also ask absolute value questions like this. I could ask you, what's the absolute value of 5 minus 8? The absolute value of 5 minus 8, well, I know 5 minus 8 is negative 3. So what I'm really asking you to do is find the absolute value of negative 3. And that answer is 3. I could also ask you to give me the absolute value of negative 2 times 4. Well, the absolute value of negative 2 times 4, what I'm really asking you to find is, what's the absolute value of negative 8? Because negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And the absolute value of negative 8 is just 8. These can also get a little bit tricky when you have opposites of absolute values, or you have the negative sign outside the absolute value sign. So for instance, if I ask you this question, I want to know, the way you would read this is, what's the opposite of the absolute value of negative 7? So first thing I would do is find the absolute value of negative 7, which is just 7. And what's the opposite of 7? Negative 7. If you look at another one, I'm going to ask you, what's the opposite of the absolute value of 12? Well, first I'm going to take the absolute value of 12, which is just 12, and find the opposite of 12, which is negative 12. And that's how you deal with problems with absolute value, integers, and opposites.